Hi, my name's Isaac Shutt. I'm an estate planning attorney. I'm licensed to practice law both in Texas and in Wyoming. In this video, I'll answer some really popular questions, and that is, what does probate without a will cost in Texas? And how long does probate without a will take? Well, let's jump right into it. Now, first of all, let me clarify what it is we're talking about. We're talking about if a person passes away, they did not have a valid last will and testament, and we need to go to court to get assets divvied up. Okay? That process is called a determination of heirship. And unfortunately, it's pretty expensive. There's no two ways about it. You're going to have an attorney, so you're going to have attorney's fees, you're going to have court filing fees. But just to cut right to the chase, the typical range of doing a determination of heirship process is in the $4,000 to $5,000 on the very low end. So if you pass away without a will and the family has to go through probate, then on the low end, you're going to have $4,000 to $5,000 in attorney's fees and court costs. Now let's talk about the high end. That could be 10, 20, or even more thousands of dollars to get through that process. Now, why is the range so huge? Well, think about it this way. Our state laws are not designed to trust you. Of course, you're claiming to be the heirs. You're trying to get assets. And so it's almost like you have to prove with evidence that you really are entitled to those assets as an heir. And so you're going to have evidence. And so when we get into these really expensive cases, it's because, there's some question as to whether or not this person was really a spouse. Maybe this person claims to be a common law spouse. Maybe this person is not really a child, but claims to be a child. So when you get into those stickier cases, when there's a dispute as to are you actually a kid? Are you actually a spouse of the deceased person? That can make the costs explode because it's a lawsuit and lawsuits are expensive. And so that's where you get from, $4,000 to $5,000 kind of for an easy plain Jane case to many multiples of tens of thousands of dollars where it's a knockdown drag out. Now, sometimes kind of in the middle, we have those situations where there's not a big dispute as to who the correct parties are, but, there's a dispute as to who should be in charge of handling the estate. And if that ends up being a problem, then we may have what's called a dependent administrator appointed. And that can get expensive because a dependent administrator is the person who goes and handles all of the divvying up of assets and paying of bills. But if everybody's not getting along, a dependent administrator has to do everything with court approval. And as you can imagine, if you have to have a hearing anytime you want to handle some type of business, the cost is going to add up. It's going to get expensive because that dependent administrator will have a lot of hearings and a lot of attorney time in handling the matters of the estate. So just to break that down again, the typical cost on the low end, if everybody's getting along for a determination of heirship, is $4,000 to $5,000. On the high end, if there's a dispute, it could be $10,000, $20,000, or even more. And again, if you didn't pick up on that, the legal process, if you pass away without a will, it's called a determination of heirship. So probate without a will in Texas is called determination of heirship. And sometimes estate planners like me will nickname that process. If you don't have a will, the state has one for you. That's determination of heirship. Okay, now let's talk about the typical timeline for probate without a will or determination of heirship. Well, from the time you first meet with that probate attorney till the time you actually have the estate all wrapped up, it's going to be at a minimum about 6 weeks. I have never seen one done faster than maybe 5 weeks, but 6 weeks is a good kind of, that went really fast, that was super smooth, about 6 weeks. Now, on the high end, you could be into the years. In fact, I'm dealing with a probate case now that has been open for over a decade. And so just kind of like when I answered, why is there such a huge variation in costs? Let me talk about why there could be a huge variation in timeline. Well, that's because for similar type situations, if there's a dispute about what the assets of the estate are or who the heirs are, that could take basically a one hearing type situation where everybody's getting along to many hearings. And these courts or these judges are busy. And so if you request a hearing, you may not get in for months. So if every little thing will require a hearing because people aren't getting along and there are estate disputes and it's 2 months till the next thing and 2 months till the next time, it just adds up in terms of time. Now, most of the times where our law office handles probate without a will, it is in that kind of 2-ish month range. So I think as a rule of thumb, if everybody's getting along and the client is responsive and the court is on their A game, it could be as low as 6 weeks, but typically it's like a couple of months, maybe 3 months for a typical determination of heirship here in the Dallas area. But again, if the wheels come off the train, it could be far longer. It could be years. And so there's a real moral to the story here, maybe 2 morals to the story. If you're a living person and you're watching this video, the moral of the story is get a will, or even better, get a trust so that your family doesn't have the potential of an estate dispute, or even if it's an easy peasy situation, doesn't have months and thousands of dollars to do this legal process. Get a will. If you're not a living person, I hope this very candid video maybe opens your eyes to what can I do to get along with my relatives a little bit better? Where can we find common ground? Because if we work together and we come to some agreements on, who is who and what is what and who's going to be handling what, it can save thousands of dollars in expense, and it can mean that you get your inheritance months or even years sooner. So work together. And if you don't work together, guess what? The attorneys will love you because that means you're putting more money in their bank. So just be real thoughtful about that. What can I do to kind of get over myself to work with my relatives, even if I'm not real happy about it? What can we do to work together? So I know this is a ton of information, but I hope you found this video helpful. There's some helpful information down below. If we can be a further resource, we would love to hear from you. Again, my name's Isaac Shutt. I'm an estate planning and probate attorney licensed in Texas and in Wyoming.